The cub's trembling began to ease, though the tension in its tiny frame lingered like a held breath. Its ears flicked at every distant sound, every snap of twig or flutter of bird wings, alert yet hesitant. The ranger remained still, letting the animal dictate the pace, the weight of presence enough to signal safety without force. He noted the faint scratches on the cub's forelegs, small but telling marks of struggle. Perhaps a tumble, perhaps a brief brush with danger. Dust clung to its golden coat, accentuating the vulnerability of such fragile life in the vast openness of the plains. The morning light stretched thin over the horizon, brushing the tips of grass in warm gold and long shadows. The cub shifted slightly, sniffing the air, its soft whimpers now more occasional than constant. Each sound it made seemed to echo, delicate and urgent, a call for the mother it could not see. Somewhere beyond the rippling grass, the distant low murmurs of other lions spoke of a pride, of belonging, yet here it remained, alone and small. The ranger knelt a little closer, letting his presence settle like a calm stone in water. "It's okay, girl," he murmured softly, voice measured, almost reverent. His hands hovered near but did not touch, allowing the cub to sense intent without fear. The cub blinked, amber eyes reflecting the faint dawn, muscles tensing and relaxing in a hesitant rhythm. Its tail flicked once, a small gesture of cautious acknowledgement, not yet trust but a glimmer of tentative connection. The ground beneath them was a mosaic of trampled grass and soft earth, marked by tiny footprints and the whisper of wind through stalks. The cub inched forward slightly, following instinct more than comprehension, each step a fragile reclaiming of courage. Around them, the savannah held its quiet breath, broken only by the distant calls of birds and the low, almost imperceptible rumble of wildlife beginning the day. Minutes passed in careful observation, measured movements and quiet reassurance. The cub tested its legs, wobbly and uncertain, but persistent. Each tremor was met with gentle stillness from the man, who let the creature find its own rhythm. Slowly, the whimpers faded, replaced by the soft sniffing and tentative exploration of the immediate surroundings. It was small progress, almost imperceptible, yet monumental for the tiny lion alone in the vastness of the plains. As the sun rose higher, a gentle warmth touched the cub's fur, and it paused mid-step, eyes catching a flicker of motion in the distance. Perhaps another lion or a shadow of reassurance, but the moment held a quiet promise. It was seen, it was tended to, and in this fragile morning, it was no longer completely alone. The ranger exhaled softly, a silent prayer for continued safety, his eyes never leaving the trembling creature that had, in its soft cries, pierced the stillness and claimed a space for hope. Each cautious step forward seemed to stretch time, measured by the rhythm of the cub's tentative trust. He brushed close to the man's legs at times, not seeking comfort outright, but drawn by the calm constancy of a presence that did not threaten. The man moved deliberately, slow enough for the cub to adjust, careful to match each step to the rhythm of a small heartbeat. His whispers were soft, deliberate, a quiet reassurance that life could be gentle even here, where danger often lingered unseen. The cub's amber eyes roamed constantly, scanning shadows and the swaying grass, alert yet curious. Every twitch of a tail or flick of an ear carried meaning, small signals of nervous attention and cautious exploration. He sniffed at the air, soft inhalations mingling with the scent of earth and sun-warmed grass, letting the subtle smells guide him. Each stumble or falter was met with the patient gaze of the man, who knelt without intruding, letting the cub regain balance at his own pace. The savannah unfolded like a muted ocean, waves of golden grass rolling toward the horizon. Sunlight filtered through low-hanging haze, painting the earth in honeyed tones. Here and there, insects shimmered in the light, and the distant low roars of unseen lions hinted at the world the cub had momentarily left behind. Despite the quiet, tension lingered in the air. Predators could be near, waterholes might harbor unseen threats, yet the cub's tentative steps were a careful negotiation of trust and instinct. Occasionally, the cub would pause and glance back at the man, ears pricked, eyes wide. It was a subtle question. "Will you still be there?" Each time, the man's stillness and soft murmurs answered without words. "You're almost there," he whispered once, letting the syllables hang lightly, unhurried, carrying neither command nor expectation. Slowly, the cub leaned forward again, pressing just a little closer to safety in this shared journey. Time stretched like the grass itself, undulating with gentle wind. The bond formed not in leaps or sudden gestures, but in patient observation, in shared pauses, in the soft acknowledgement of presence. The cub's steps grew steadier, tail flicking more freely, his small body less rigid against the threats he imagined in every sway of the savannah. There was still fragility, yes, but a fragile trust now existed, shimmering like dew on blades of grass, delicate yet undeniable. By mid-morning, a quiet rhythm settled over the pair. Each step was measured, deliberate, yet infused with a sense of cautious confidence. The cub followed, not blindly, but choosing the man's side as a guide through the vastness of a world both beautiful and unforgiving. In this fragile companionship, a silent understanding grew. Safety could exist even if fleeting, and connection could bloom where fear had once reigned. The cub's amber eyes flickered with unease, darting from the swaying grass to the distant horizon, as if scanning for invisible threats. Each step was tentative, the injured leg dragging slightly, leaving faint impressions in the soft earth. Occasionally, a soft groan would escape him, barely audible above the rustle of leaves, a raw signal of discomfort that tugged at the man's careful attention. He did not rush forward but knelt low, observing, letting the cub dictate the pace. Every movement of the cub spoke of vulnerability, ears flattened briefly, tail tucked, muscles tensing and relaxing in a fragile rhythm of survival. The sun now lay higher in the sky, casting a harsh warmth across the open savannah. Dust rose in tiny clouds under each careful step of the cub, settling over tawny fur and scratch-marked earth alike. A bird lifted suddenly from the grass, startling the cub, whose body pressed closer to the ground in reflexive fear. The man exhaled slowly, voice soft and grounding. "It's okay, you're safe." The words were not an order, only a quiet tether to the present, a calm anchor amid the uncertainty of pain and the unpredictability of the wild. Each cautious advance revealed more of the cub's struggle. The shallow wound throbbed with each step, a vivid reminder of fragility in a harsh landscape. His legs shook under him, every movement a negotiation between instinct to flee and the tentative trust forming with the human presence. Yet despite the pain, the cub continued, sometimes pausing to lick at a scraped paw, eyes closing briefly against discomfort, then forcing himself onward. Every groan and tremor deepened the man's resolve, a silent weighing of intervention against respect for the cub's autonomy. The savannah itself seemed to hold its breath, the tall grasses swaying gently as if in sympathy. Insects hummed lazily in the heat, distant calls of lions and birds threading the air, a constant reminder that life and danger coexisted in fragile balance. The cub moved slower now, almost dragging the injured leg, and the man adjusted, matching each step, crouching lower, allowing the small creature to lean into the support without ever feeling constrained. Their movements became a careful dance, measured in patience, quiet murmurs, and observation. Moments stretched into hours, each step deliberate, each pause a conversation without words. The cub's limp was subtle but persistent, the groans faint but constant, yet trust deepened in the space between fear and reassurance. The man's calm presence allowed the cub to navigate pain without panic, to explore the world despite fragility, to take tentative steps toward healing even as every blade of grass and distant sound reminded him of his vulnerability. By late morning, the rhythm of movement had settled into something tentative but enduring. The cub followed, trusting enough to take each step, fearful enough to remain cautious, and in this delicate interplay of pain, fear, and growing confidence, a silent understanding emerged. Care could exist without dominance, presence could exist without force, and even in the sharp edge of suffering, connection could be forged. The cub lingered for a heartbeat, amber eyes meeting the human's with a soft, searching gaze. His tiny body pressed briefly against the steady hand, a subtle acknowledgement that trust had taken root. The rumble in his chest vibrated like a muted drum, resonating through the calm evening air, and the man remained still, allowing the fragile connection to breathe without interruption. The golden light cast long shadows across the grass, each blade trembling gently in the warm wind, as if the land itself recognized the quiet significance of this moment. From the distance, the low chorus of roars grew slightly, a tapestry of sound that spoke of family, survival, and belonging. The cub's ears flicked at every note, the familiar rhythm tugging at an instinct buried deep within him. He paused, nose lifted, whiskers twitching before slowly shifting his weight forward. The man moved back just enough to give space, his gaze soft and unwavering, honoring the delicate balance between freedom and care. Each step the cub took was careful, measured, and deliberate, a negotiation between lingering trust and the call of the wild. The tall grass swayed gently, brushing against the cub's fur as he moved, a natural barrier between him and the world beyond. A larger figure emerged, massive and protective, eyes scanning the newcomer with quiet authority. The cub hesitated only briefly, then nudged forward, pressing his small head against the broader muzzle. The pride responded with low, approving murmurs, tails flicking slowly, the air charged with a sense of unity restored. Every movement, every breath felt intimate and monumental, a quiet miracle of connection and survival. The man watched silently, chest tight with an unspoken blend of awe and relief. The cub lifted his head, amber eyes briefly catching the fading light, before turning fully to his family. The pride enveloped him in a gentle circle of warmth and protection, each touch and nuzzle a reassurance that he was home. The soft rumbles and murmurs of contentment filled the air, a symphony of life renewed. The cub glanced back once, tail flicking, a fleeting acknowledgement of the bond that had carried him through fear, pain, and uncertainty. As the sun dipped lower, the plain glowed with a muted gold, wind whispering through grass and dust alike. The human stepped back quietly, allowing the cub to vanish fully into the embrace of his pride. For a few moments, only the rhythm of breathing, distant roars, and the soft sway of grass remained. In that stillness, a profound quiet settled, an unspoken miracle witnessed, fragile yet enduring, where trust, care, and nature converged in a single golden evening. The cub bounded across the open plain, each stride sure and confident, paws striking the earth with a rhythm born of regained strength. His coat glimmered in the waning sunlight, muscles coiling and releasing in perfect harmony, a testament to survival and care. The pride moved around him, protective yet gentle, circling in a pattern of silent welcome. Eyes met, tails flicked, and low rumbles wove through the air, a quiet language of belonging that needed no translation. The humans remained at the edge of the tall grass, still and reverent, careful not to disturb the reunion. Dust rose beneath each moving paw, swirling like molten gold in the soft wind. The cub paused briefly, ears alert, nose lifted, catching the familiar sense of earth, grass, and family. For a fleeting instant, he turned toward the humans, amber eyes meeting theirs in a glance heavy with unspoken acknowledgement. Then with a light leap, he joined the fold fully, his small roar blending into the deep chorus of the pride, a signal of connection, a proclamation of freedom. The sun leaned toward the horizon, painting the savannah in molten amber and muted crimson. Shadows stretched long across the grass, bending in the evening breeze, as if the land itself bowed to this moment. Each step of the pride carried a soft rhythm, a harmony of trust and instinct moving as one. The cub's earlier fragility was gone, replaced with the confident energy of a life reclaimed, yet the memory of dependence lingered softly, like a shadow on golden ground. The man exhaled, chest rising and falling with the calm weight of awe. There was no need for words, no final gesture required, only the quiet understanding that trust, once given and honored, leaves an indelible mark. The savannah absorbed the stillness, the fading light, and the subtle harmony of life returning to its natural order. The wind whispered through the tall blades, carrying the faint, steady rumbles of the pride as they moved farther into the distance. As the last glow of the sun slipped below the horizon, the pride disappeared completely into the golden folds of the plains. Only soft purrs, the distant rustle of grass, and the eternal pulse of the wild remained, a gentle echo of connection and freedom. The humans lingered a moment longer, hearts heavy with quiet wonder, then stepped back, leaving the land and its creatures to the enduring rhythm of life, trust, and untamed serenity.